Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Radigan. I am product owner of a new service here at Atlassian called Dr. Wow. We are a part of the advisory services team focused on work management and Atlassian-Together. Today I am joined by three members of our first customer, aka Patient Zero, working with Dr. Wow. And just to let everybody know, Dr. Wow is very much a service under development. We are working with customers, learning together, experimenting together to grow this service. So, you all know me. If I can ask each member from Dish to introduce themselves, their name, and give a little bit of context as to the role that they do at Dish.
Thank you, Dan. My name is Adam Nichols, and I am the Senior Manager at Dish Wireless, and our team is responsible for supporting the Atlassian tool stack, including Jira, JSM, Confluence, and all of our third-party applications, as well as the different integrations we have both internally and with our external vendors.
My name is Mitch Hoback. I am a process and implementation manager, and we go work with teams and figure out effective ways of working.
My name is Samer Farag. I'm also a process implementation manager and Agile coach with the team, so I work with Mitch.
So to get us started, I'm curious to know, what is your favorite product within Atlassian-Together?
Wow, there's quite a bit. I think they all play together well. I would say Confluence is great, and Trello is something new that we've started using, and I think really it's kind of a toss-up between those two.
Good to hear. Mitch?
I would say mine's Trello. It's something that I can use in my personal life, which is awesome, and it's something that I kind of find out about using the Doctor engagement. Great space for ideation.
For me, it's definitely Atlas, and it's not just because the Atlas marketers were back there before we got on stage. It's definitely a great tool as far as connecting, multiple teams together, keeping everybody on track. It's been very useful at Dish.
So I'm curious, as a new service, what made you say yes to working with the team doctors?
Definitely. Well, I think it started at Team 22. We saw you guys dressed like this, kind of scratched our head. We're like, okay, what's going on here? We got to figure out a little bit more. And as the name implies, the doctors are very surgical. It's not just some general training. They get really focused and really specific. And I think that was something that really intrigued me, because we had a lot of pain points. We had no central system of record. We had no real repository, and communication was very sporadic. And I think that there was a lot of areas of opportunity. The teams kind of had a lot of ambiguity around what they were doing and their identity. And really talking with you guys, I saw this as a great opportunity to really address that. I was joking earlier, you guys are the Magic Johnson of running plays.
I think there's a lot of decisions that get made very, very high above me. But the way I was sold on the doctors was when you guys actually came out to Herndon, and we sat there and we went to dinner, and you guys took the time to listen to our use cases and actually, maybe not give us solutions right then and there, but say, like, we have some ideas around how we can fix that. And that was the first time that had happened for us. And it was, light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, these guys can not only help us, but also help us, use this stuff down the line too.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with Mitch. I think meeting the doctors in person was very helpful as sort of level setting for me, understanding, the benefit and really the buy-in from Atlassian and the doctors themselves was just very comforting for me as far as, knowing that this would be a fruitful endeavor.
So as I've come to know, Dish is about 16,000 people worldwide, which gives plenty of teams to work with. How did you choose the two that you did, MSS and Tech Dev?
Definitely. Well, both of those are kind of in our wheelhouse. So I would definitely say when doing something like this, there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, you want to pick some friendlies. Go in with some teams that are open. These teams were very hungry. They knew that they needed to do things better. They knew that there was a better way. They wanted to learn how to use the tools. They wanted to get better. So that definitely helped. We had executive support from the leadership, executive level down. We had the support, team up support, and that appetite to do it really helped make that decision.
I think the tech dev team in particular is uniquely positioned in the landscape of Dish in that we are still working on site. And they have a lot of contractors and they have a lot of external vendors that they work with that are all using different platforms, that are all remote. And we thought if we could get them doing the practices and using the tools in the way that we use the tools, that they would be a team that's better suited to kind of adopt some of the capabilities that the Atlassian suite offers.
I honestly have nothing to add there. I think they they pretty much cleared that question.
Awesome. So in working with the Dish team, they've mentioned a lot about practices and plays. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Atlassian has a team playbook online, which what we refer to a play is it's an exercise to help teams get to a particular outcome more quickly. You know, you may be familiar with a retrospective or, you know, roles and responsibilities to help clarify how people work together on the team. And inside Atlassian, we're building a new play called the Team Formation Guide. And we heard quite a bit from Dish, how great it was to do this play and get access to some of our pre-release content. So I want to flip the slide real quick. You can see on the screen, this is their output in working through the Team Formation Guide, which is really about helping new teams or even existing teams accelerate their partnership and how they team together. And I'd love to hear from each of you, what about it, you know, inspired you to print it and share it in the office? And what outcomes did you get from doing the activity?
Definitely. I would say it really helped with the transparency of what is our team? What is the purpose of our team? So for newly formed teams or teams going through transition, it's a great activity to really kind of come up with your identity of who you are. And also if you have new members on the team, you get to learn different communication styles. Some people prefer in person, some people prefer email, some people prefer chat. Some people like to have their quiet time. Some people are more outgoing. So you really get to learn a lot about the people. And it's also good both internally as a team working together, but then when you're working with your customers, it helped us kind of change the approach of how we work with our customers as well. And so I think that making it visible and just having that conversation internally and being aligned on the same page definitely helped.
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway for me was knowing how the people that I work with like to operate. You know, I was not even 3 months into starting with Dish, and so it was a great way to figure out, you know, kind of who they are and what their habits and what they like and what they don't like and how they like to work, right? Something that we took out of that was people don't like meetings at 9 a.m. You know, for us, that's like fingers on keyboard time. That's when we like to get work done. And to be able to kind of have a place where, you know, we figure that out and talk about that and agree on it was really impactful moving forward. We also don't like people dropping by our cubes. You know, that's something that, you know, submit a ticket for that. And it was a good place to realize as a group that, hey, we're kind of on the same page with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I think what Mitch said at the end there about getting everybody on the same page was a very important aspect of that particular play. And getting, you know, everybody to know what they like and don't like was all very important. I think for me in particular as well, it was sort of being able to discuss our fears. I think often kind of going back to the conversation from earlier today, being able to speak on that sort of thing isn't always easy, you know, in a corporate environment. And so having that sort of open, safe area to have those sort of discussions was really fruitful for the team. And, you know, just talking about what if things go wrong? How do we account for that was very important.
What if things go really well? How do we account for that too?
Absolutely. You know, we can see in the picture, you know, you've printed the TFG and put it on your on the wall. I'm curious, have you gotten any questions about it? Are other teams interested?
I mean, I personally have not really gotten questions about it. I know people have seen it and that's cool. I do know that people are interested in doing it. One of the teams that we've worked with up to this point is interested in doing it as well. And we're interested in doing it again now that, because we're a very different team from the team that we were 3 months ago. We have new people, some people have left as well. And so I see, a process in which we do this often and sort of see the growth. And, as as old problems are fixed, new problems arise. And so being able to discuss that in this sort of forum will be helpful for us.
Yeah, it's fluid and it's something that should be run again, just in the sense of, a lot of new stuff has come up in the last few months that we didn't account for when we first did it, and our team has changed members, and there's kind of new ways of working that we now know about that we didn't know about when we first ran it. And yeah, it's something that I know that the team liked, and something that we saw a lot of value in doing.
I've guided a couple people through, but I think really to their point is it's not something that you should just do once and expect it to never change. It's going to be fluid between the environment changing, both internally, your external, your competitors. Really, there's a lot of different factors. So it's something that do it, get comfortable doing it. I think it ties in very closely with the health monitors, and you start to see those two really play off each other.
Mitch, if I can circle back to you.
Yeah.
You had mentioned new ways of working came up from doing the team formation guide and working with the doctors. Can you share with the audience what some of those new ways of working and insights were?
Yeah. Obviously with the team formation, kind of forming an identity around what the team is there, what people's roles on that team are. With the health monitor that we've run now with multiple teams and are planning to run again, really kind of diving into, well, first giving people a space to come in and say, like, I'm a team, but maybe stuff's not going well right now. How do we fix that? How do I get some grievances out there that say, like, I think that we can do this better? And just us being able to have the playbook at our disposal and really dive in and identify those pain points and, build out a plan moving forward to help these teams out has been crucial in kind of what we do now on a day-to-day basis.
So if somebody in the audience was curious about the team formation guide, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to go into it with an open mind, have fun. It's something that it's a safe space. Like, even if Samer and I ways of working don't match up, that's okay. Now I know what he likes. Now he knows what I like and what we don't like, and we're able to kind of play off that. And it's really great groundwork for building relationships, especially, even though my cube is like right next to Samer's, there's a lot of value that could be happening, in an online setting, just to know, like, yeah, I don't like to get pinged out of the blue. I like agendas on my meetings. There's a lot of stuff in there that I think teams can leverage into having a strong team identity.
Yeah. If I can just add on to that, commitment is sort of the theme here, and I think that's definitely true for this as well. Just like speaking personally, when I heard that we were about to have like two-hour sessions doing this at the start, I was like, I don't know about that. But, when you actually get into it, and obviously Mark has the energy of every golden retriever combined, it really helped us kind of get into it, work with him to make it a valuable experience. So I think just, like Mitch mentioned, just going in with an open mind and really, just giving that effort.
So one of the teams that we worked with as the team doctors was called Tech Dev. And Adam, if you could give the audience a little bit of context of who that team is and what their charter is, that would be awesome.
Of course. So our Tech Dev team is based out in Herndon, Virginia, and they are actually really responsible for the architecture of the infrastructure for our 5G network. So they're the ones that are really trying to look out into the future, a year, 3 years, 5 years down the road, to really identify and define what is going to be the infrastructure and architecture if we want to be able to have a 5G network for a drone service or for automated driving or for any of that future of a 5G network. It's really making sure that we have that pipeline to be able to do that. And they're all within our wheelhouse. And we chose them really because if you can get your foundation built correctly, it really helps perpetuate into all other areas of the organization. And making sure that they are able to communicate effectively amongst themselves. I know Samer has plenty of examples that I want these guys to share, because they're the ones that really rolled up their sleeves and worked with the doctors and just jumped in and really engaged with them and just did a phenomenal job. It was very high touch. I think that's the thing that they touched a little bit about, but I really want to say it's crucial. This wasn't a Zoom call. We went out to Herndon. You were there as well. It was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And the first day was just more agile training and stuff like that, hands-on. As you can see from the picture, it was an in-person, hands-on, engaging activity to get them out of their comfort zone. But they were willing, and they really wanted it. And by starting off with that positive, energetic note, it really set the tone moving forward for really the rest of the engagement.
And as I understand it, although their name is Tech Dev, they're not your standard software engineering team.
No.
They're the ones, really building the foundation of the next gen 5G network. And I think it's important. I'd like to go into a little bit of what we were there to do as team doctors. We have an offering called the Team Health Clinic, where we partner with a customer, helping them understand their network of teams, how teams interact with one another. And then we run one of our plays called the Team Health Monitor, which assesses a team's health, how they're feeling about things like team cohesion, shared understanding. Does their team have the right balance between different kinds of skill sets? And when we were all in Herndon, we ran a number of health monitors across the tech dev team. There are about 50 or so people. Mm-hmm. To then roll all that data up into an organizational health monitor readout. And I think it was fantastic being on site and working with Dish in such a tight feedback loop. It's really helped us accelerate our learnings with Dr. Wow.
Just to go back to your original question about kind of why we picked tech dev, I think it's twofold as well. The first is that the leader of tech dev kind of rolls up to the team, the guy that we're under. He's on Mark Around's team. And so it would be great to kind of get us all on the same page, using the same tools, mm-hmm. speaking the same language. The second reason was that they did not use the tools at all when we got there. Like you guys saw people logging into their Atlassian account for the first time, which is okay. We were there to help them, to get them on, teach them what they didn't know, right? Don't resist things that you don't know. And so just to be able to see kind of what they took out of that meeting, what they learned, what they're doing now, what they're carrying forward has been just incredibly impactful.
Mitch, can you share some of the new ways of working that you've seen within tech dev?
Yeah, I think for me, since I'm kind of a Confluence guy, I think that the biggest thing is them just utilizing Confluence as their central location for having meeting notes and keeping task items and action reports out of there. They work with a lot of external people. They're in there also communicating, commenting, and that was like a sign of success that they're finally having that single source of truth where things are happening. You can see stuff, you can see things in flight. No one has to wonder if this is living in someone's Google Drive. So it's been really spectacular to see kind of like the uptake, because they really started out like, we're patient zero on this program, but they're like, we're zero in terms of Atlassian tool usage. And so they've grown a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd also say, there were particular problems that we were able to solve after we performed the health monitor and after we started to work with them more in depth. There was an instance where they were going through a meeting pretty much every Friday, and they were kind of struggling through it. They weren't able to, keep track of who was doing what and that sort of thing, kind of to Mitch's point. And, after working with Mark for a little bit, we came up with a sort of plan for them to more effectively use Confluence, and it's really completely shifted how they take those meetings, how they keep track of the work they're doing. So there's been, a direct benefit since we started doing that work.
I think, one of the things that we've learned in working with Dish is just the uptake of the Together tools and the opportunities around meetings. Our second offering after Team Health is called Better Meetings, and it's about how organizations work together more collaboratively, making meeting time more effective, using proven practices to increase the effectiveness of together time, but also to increase the effectiveness of time apart. So that, as you saw in the keynote this morning, making better use of async, using the tools to pass information from one team member to another, whether you're co-located or between geos, so that you are working more effectively together with disparate tool sets, having all of that information in the same place. So one of the things that we ask as team doctors is we want to invest in somebody in your organization that can then reproduce the engagement. So we worked closely with Dish with tech dev. Then the team here worked with a new team called MSS. And I'm curious to get your perspective on what was it like to reproduce the engagement and the output and feedback you got working with a new team?
Yeah. So yeah, we ended up doing the same health monitor with MSS. They're the members of scientific staff. And it was an extremely enlightening experience. Mark Cruth was with us virtually at the time, but it was pretty much just Mitch and I doing the play on our own. And the amount of information we got from that team and the feedback we were able to provide, to their leader, their manager was, I don't even know how to describe it, because he was like literally, getting out of his seat in excitement, seeing the feedback that he was getting and the potential changes that we'd be able to make given the information that we got. So
it was the moment that I like had that oh shit moment. I was like, I can do this. Like after meeting with Mark and going through the instruction on the plays, it was finally time to get out in the field and do something. And it went better than I had hoped. Mark was a presence on the screen. But yeah, we ran it and it was awesome. And people came up to us afterwards and were just happy that we took the time to like give them a space to talk about some of the issues that as a team they were having, and also figuring out like what do we do moving forward? How do we fix some things? And yeah, it was it kind of gave me the confidence to be like, yeah, I can do this. This is something that I want to do.
So it sounds like you've opened up collaboration within the MSS team.
Totally.
Increased collaboration with your team, so that they are now coming to you and saying, hey, how do we improve?
Yeah. How do I take meetings off of our calendar?
Yeah.
Well, we have a play for that.
I'm curious to hear a bit more about the leader of MSS and sort of his feedback on the organizational health monitor.
Well, when we presented that, obviously the thing that you're drawn to is, it's all yellow and red. This is bad. And it's like, whoa. It's not really, that doesn't mean that it's bad. That means that there's room to grow, right? And of course, as you continue to do this, your level of success begins to change, right? What you might have at the beginning is down here, and this is what success looks like in your yellow and red. But as you continue to work and improve the ways of working and keep running plays, then success might still be yellow and red, but success is up here. And so we actually, he loved it to the point where he's like, when's the next one? It's almost been 3 months. You're supposed to do these every 90 days. What's the date? And we're like, whoa, okay, October 13th. That's when it's happening. Like, all right, we're gonna do it again. Yeah. But yeah, it was good to see his excitement and to be able to present, pain points. And, this is what the team is feeling. This is like a pulse on the team right now.
So one of the things I really appreciate about working with the Dish team is they come from a variety of backgrounds and skill sets that really complement each other well. And I'm curious, how has the doctor engagement empowered you individually?
Yeah. So I've kind of mentioned it before. For me personally, I am not the most like high energy, jump up and down sort of person. And so it's been a nice way for me to get out of my comfort zone. I mean, I never thought I'd be up here doing this just as an example. So, being able to sort of communicate with people. I'm usually the kind of person who's just like in the back, tinkering, writing away. I was a technical writer, same as Mitch. And so getting out of that and, helping people with their problems sort of face to face has been a really productive experience and one that I've really enjoyed. So that part of working with the doctors has just been great for me.
Yeah, I come from a background in English and philosophy. I have a master's degree in English, and I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would be on stage at a tech conference. But this opportunity, being a technical writer at first is what Dish brought me on for, and then kind of pivoting into, I've always been a people person, and the opportunity to actually go out and meet with teams and identify their problems and to see how I can help them and actually see that I am helping them has been pretty instrumental in kind of reframing like where I want to go in my career. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have done this engagement.
Definitely. And I have a background in hospitality, so very similar. Never thought I'd be on a tech stage, but I love helping people. I love helping teams. And to have two people that are very passionate about it and do such a great job, and to see the impact that they're able to have on our teams and the benefit, the tactical, tangible value that it's bringing to the organization, but also to the people. As they mentioned, like to see the excitement on the faces of the team members and to get that level of engagement, that's exciting. And then to know that now we have tools and practices and plays that we can start running with other teams and just see how it can expand and scale. Just very exciting to see the potential.
So as our last question, if somebody came to you and said, hey, I'm considering working with the doctors, what advice would you give them?
Do it. Don't look back. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but I knew that there was a better way. I knew that there was something that we could do that would improve. And it's exciting to just continue to grow and expand. And if you don't grow, if you don't try, you become stagnant. And that was something that is not acceptable. And the doctors bring a brand new perspective than you would have otherwise.
Yeah, I would say commit the time. Initially it feels like a lot, like, okay, 4 hours a week, 3 hours a week. But what you're going to get out of it is so much. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. So to invest the time up front, to learn how you can improve your organization, how you can improve yourself, I think is really critical. And, there were people that were excited to spend that time with us, and that made all the difference.
Yeah, I think our enthusiasm matched the doctors, particularly just Mitch and I. We were like, all right, let's do this. And I think that level of openness will really help to derive the most value that you possibly can from the program. So I think if you just come in with the right mindset, you'd be surprised what kind of improvements you can get.
Yeah.
So to round us out, I do want to draw your attention to the slide. If you're interested in learning more about the story at Dish, we have a QR code that'll link you to a readout on their experience with Atlassian. And then if you're interested in working with the team doctors, like I said in the beginning, we are looking to partner with customers that want to learn and grow with us using Atlassian-Together. Please do reach out to your account team. We are actively partnering with the team who's delivering the Together beta. So please reach out to the account team. They can put you in touch with us. And thank you so much for sticking it out to the end. It's been a pleasure speaking with y'all. And if I could just extend one more thanks on behalf of Atlassian to Dish to joining us in San Francisco. We appreciate you. Thank you for all the learnings that you've given us to grow the Dr. Wow program. Can't thank you enough.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone.